I think I'm here now. Hi, my name is Courtney French, Artistic Director for the Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning, and welcome to the 11th edition of Making Moves Dance Festival. Today, we present our commissioned artists and company, Rovaco Dance Company, along with their founder, director, choreographer, Rohan. Rohan, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you today? How's it going out there?
It's going well. I'm super excited to be here.
Okay, all right. We're all in a bit of a snow thing going on out here in New York, but I'm hoping wherever you are, you're warm, you're comfortable, and you're ready to talk more about this program. One of the things I wanted to know, I mean, I used to dance myself just a little bit, but the thing that I would really want to know is, well, just tell us a bit about the work, the context of it, the fine parts.
Yeah, so the piece that we're about to watch is called Aaiye, which loosely translates to welcome from Hindi to English. It is inspired by traditions, cultural norms, and stories of South Asian hospitality as seen and experienced in India today. The performance actually begins with a religious ceremony, which is practiced in India as part of Hinduism in many different forms. But sometimes, to give like the utmost honor and respect, the ceremony is done to welcome guests. In Hindu culture, there's this really famous saying called Athithi Deva Bhava, which literally means guest is equal to God. But later in the piece, we kind of dive into the more contemporary side of what this religious or more purer form of hospitality means today. We blend Indian street theater with contemporary dance to show like these comedic instances of extensive hospitality or hospitality gone too far. So yeah, that's the context.
Wow. Okay. Well, I would love to see everything that you just spoke about. But before we begin, usually we talk some housekeeping. What are housekeeping rules or things you'd like the audience to know or you'd like them to do while at home watching this performance?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could do this live and we had people in the theater, but at the same time, I think it's very important when we're watching dance at home to kind of get into that zone because I've seen so many shows and it's so easy to get distracted. So I just want to encourage, everyone who's watching at home, whether you're joining through Facebook or YouTube, create a mood for yourself, whether that means to dim the lights, maybe grab a drink of choice. I'm actually like having chai here in my Rovaco branded mug. And chai because chai is actually a welcoming beverage served in India. And so if you were, coming to see the show live, I would be serving you chai before you enter the theater. So, but if you don't, of course, you might not have prepared chai in advance. So, you could get a glass of water, beer, wine, whatever, is available. Maybe plug in your headphones or a speaker. Take a moment to silence your phone, locate your nearest exit in case of an emergency. But just like, settle in, be comfy, be cozy, and we will see you after the performance for like an interactive Q&A through Facebook and YouTube chat. Until then, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
All right.
अतिथि देवो भव अतिथि सर्वोपरि भव अतिथि देवो भव अतिथि सर्वोपरि भव सा नि गा गा नि गा 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 नि सा नि पा नि पा नि पा नि पा नि पा नि पा मा pa ma pa pa ma pa 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 ma pa ma pa ma ga ma ma ga ma ma ga ma 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 ga ma ga ma ga sa ga ma ga ma pa ma pa ni pa ni sa ma ma ga ma ma ga ma 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 ga ma ga ma ga ni ga ni ga ni ga ni ga ni ma ma ga ma ga ma 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 ga ma ga ma ga ma pa ma pa ni pa ni sa ni ga ga ni ni ba ba ma 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 ga ma pa ni ga ga ni ni ba ba ma 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 ga ma pa ga ni ni ba ba ma 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 ga ma pa ni sa ga ma pa ni sa ga ma pa ni sa हर्षित होकर पुलकित होकर हर्षित होकर पुलकित होकर हम सब गाएं मंगल गान हम सब गाएं स्वागत गान हर्षित होकर पुलकित होकर हम सब गाएं मंगल गान हम सब गाएं स्वागत गान इस मंगल वेला पर हम सब इस मंगल वेला पर हम सब करते हैं ये सम्मान करते सबका ये सम्मान झूम झूम कर गाएं हम सब स्वागत गान स्वागत गान झूम झूम कर गाएं हम सब स्वागत गान स्वागत गान लबों पे गूंजा एक तराना करे सभी अब ये उद्गान लबों पे गूंजा एक तराना करे सभी अब ये उद्गान हर्षित होकर पुलकित होकर हम सब गाएं मंगल गान हम सब गाएं स्वागत गान अतिथि देवो भव अतिथि सर्वोपरि भव अतिथि देवो भव अतिथि सर्वोपरि भव अतिथि सर्वोपरि भव अतिथि देवो भव
Ladies and gentlemen, देवियों और सज्जनों,
मेरे प्यारे भाई और बहनों,
आपका स्वागत है। आइए, नमस्ते, नमस्कार।
thank you so much for coming out tonight.
We are so happy that you could join us.
And welcome to our show.
आइए।
मेरा नाम है Siddharth.
And I am Rohan.
We are so excited to host you guys tonight.
अतिथि, दिल थाम के बैठिए।
क्योंकि आज dance meets Nukkad Natak.
Yes, that's street play, Indian style.
For too many years, too many guests have suffered at the hands of Indian aunties and uncles.
They've been fed and fed and fed, and now they're fed up.
I mean, come on, yeah. It's just not fair.
But Athithi, don't you worry. आज हम इस सोशल इशू का पर्दाफाश करेंगे।
We won't let this happen to you tonight.
हम सबको दिखा दें कि कैसे बेचारे गेस्ट को प्रेशर किया जाता है।
Starting today, we will say no. No to well-intentioned, over-the-top hospitality.
आइए आइए शिवम भैया, लेट मी शो यू अराउंड। ये घर 30 साल पुराना है। My grandfather started building it with only 1,000 rupee investment. What a great man. वैसे खाना तैयार है, आइए, let's sit down and eat. ये भी ट्राई करिए। Have a little bite. That's it? No, 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 no. Please. You have to. Hey, you must. I made this especially for you. I'm sure you are gonna love it. Bunty, what are you doing? टूट जाएगा बेटा. Kids these days, I tell you, too much. Oh, this painting. Let me tell you about this one. This is done by my grandma actually. She does Tanjore paintings now. I'm sure you must know about it. It's an age-old tradition. So rich. Anyway, ready for dessert? पेट भर गया? What do you mean? You've hardly eaten anything, huh? And after dessert, you have to hear Bunty sing. He won first prize in his school competition. We are so proud of him. Ye लीजिए. Here's a little gift for you. You have come after so long, you just can't say no. Please come again. Namaste. भाइयों और बहनों, this is only half of the story.
हाँ, अरे रामू काका का क्या? पता है कितनी डांट पड़ी थी उनको जब गंदी ट्रे में चाय सर्व कर दी थी?
And what about Rahul? The poor boy had to sleep on the couch when Rajiv uncle visited from Australia.
For 3 whole nights, I remember. Bichara couldn't even watch porn.
But Athithi, don't you worry. No host was inconvenienced to produce this show today.
Yeah, I mean, it was just 100 hours of rehearsals. Easy.
Thank you for coming.
Time 7 p.m. Jagger, Mr. Tiwari's house.
Plot, the Patels are coming.
Mahol, Hammerson. Total chaos.
On one hand, there's Ramu Kaka.
And on the other hand, Chintu's daily shenanigans.
So guess who's stuck in the middle?
Yes. Poor Mr. Tiwari. Aaiye.
Chintu, आज फिर late. You know now, the Patels are coming tonight. Chalo, go get ready. Ramu Kaka, please make sure that the trays are clean tonight. Not like last time, huh? और सुन, is the rice ready? Oh my God! Plates, where are the plates? सब काम ना मुझे ही करना पड़ेगा. I've been cleaning the house all day. Chintu, please come and pick your shoes up from the living room right now. Oh, Ramu, spoon idhar, fork udhar.
How many times do I have to tell you that?
तुम लोग ना मेरा ही मुंह काला करवाओगे. You know what? Actually, it's all our names on the line. अच्छा Ramu, please make sure that the namkeen table is set. And I want to use the Panjara curtis tonight. Remember? The ones that we got from Jaipur last time? Right, हाँ, वही वाले. And कूलर में पानी भर गया था ना? Okay. Good. Very good. ओहो. चिंटू, फिर वही बात. टाइम वेस्ट करना ना कोई तुमसे सीखे. Come on यार, hurry up. You have to take a shower also. And remember, you have to sleep on the couch tonight. So please, please make sure that your room is clean. क्या बात है? The dal is smelling so good. अच्छे से तड़का लगाया क्या? The salt is a little less, no? चल, कोई नहीं. Today has to be perfect. Oh my God, They're here. They're here. अरे पटेल जी नमस्ते. आइए आइए. Let me show you around.
Ladies and gentlemen, now you have seen the truth with your very own eyes. And it's up to you to take this knowledge forward. Say something when you see something, and don't let this happen to your fellow guests.
Stand up to your host. Otherwise, you will be fed too much delicious food. I mean, come on, yeah. It's just not fair.
Together, we can, we must, we have to.
देवी और सज्जनों, आप आए, आपने हमारा शो देखा, मजा आ गया.
We hope you really enjoyed your evening.
हाँ, जब हम फिर से परफॉर्म करेंगे ना, तो आप फिर से आना. प्लीज कम अगेन.
But wait, Siddharth, we cannot say goodbye to all these lovely people without doing a dance finale. I mean, what kind of show host would we be?
You're absolutely right, Rohan. Bhai और बहनों, one last dance. I mean, you just can't say no.
Yes. Oi DJ, please play my song.
डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. गाना चला दो. गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. गाना चला दो. गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. गाना चला दो. गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले मेरा गाना तू चला दे. थोड़ी वॉल्यूम चला दो. गाना चला दो.
क्लब में तेरी सरकार बना दूं, टेबल को तेरी बार बना दूं. वैसे तो हूँ बादशाह मैं, आज रात तुझे स्टार बना दूं. ऐसा बेबी काम करा दूं, डांस फ्लोर तेरे नाम करा दूं. घूर के देखे जो कोई तुझको, कान पे उसके चार लगा दूं. जी भर के नाच ले बेबी शैंपेन के शावर में. यार तेरे का फैन मिनिस्टर बैठा है जो पावर में. के नीचे तू कहे तो बन जाऊं डीजे. दिन रात बजाऊं गाने, हिंदी इंग्लिश नए पुराने. हुक्म चला रिक्वेस्ट न कर, नाची जा बेबी रेस्ट न कर. पेशेंट हूँ तेरे हुस्न का, पेशेंस मेरी टेस्ट न कर. डीजे आले गाना बजा दे, जून सब भी कह रही है. बाकी पूरी कर दूंगा मैं, कोई कसर जो रह रही है.
डीजे वाले मेरा गाना तो बजा. मेरा गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. डीजे वाले बाबू मेरा गाना चला दो. गाना चला दो. गाना चला दो.
अरे आजा बेबी आजा तेरा गाना बजा दूं. आजा बेबी आजा तेरा गाना बजा दूं. आजा बेबी आजा तेरा गाना बजा दूं. गाना बजा दूं. गाना बजा दूं. बजा दूं. आजा बेबी आजा बजा दूं. आजा बेबी आजा बजा दूं. गाना बजा दूं.
Well, Rohan, that was riveting. I love the movement. It was just super sharp. I've always loved that kind of just sharpness and fluidity, and just it looks like, it looks so, I guess, so natural to me. It was beautiful to see. It really was. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, we are being joined by one of Ryan's collaborators, Siddharth. Am I pronouncing that right? Am I close? Am I
Yeah.
even close?
No, you're right.
Okay, all right. All right, all right. So I guess one of my question would be, what was the process for you, like, Siddharth? What was the process like in terms of, the cultural narrative and the text and movement? And that's something that I would find challenging as a dancer: text and movement, and having to sort of, put them all together in the right place and so on. How was that for you?
Well, to begin with, as the whole process, it was very emotional and refreshing because being an Indian, when you leave home and you come to an unknown country where what we did is not done on a regular basis, you miss that. You miss that essence. You miss the meaning, the value behind it. So when Rohan introduced the whole concept, I was like, we've no one's ever done that before, and it was really exciting. So when we dove into the process, it was just coming back to me. The things that my parents did, the things, the little gestures that we do when we have guests over at our home, the kind of hospitality that we give to our guests when they visit us. So it was just very natural because I think it's ingrained in us, and it was easy to dive in. But when we started working on the text part, it was the most difficult. That is something that I've never done before. And when Rohan said that, okay, we need to use speech in the piece, and I was like, okay, you mean like acting? And he's like, yes, I mean like we need to work on when if we are welcoming the guests, what do we say? These certain things that we do when there's hospitality involved in our culture. It was the most difficult, like because at the end of the day, you would want the audience to understand what you're saying. But then there's a difference between us having a conversation and there's a difference between talking in the piece. And for me, when he said it in the beginning, I was just like reading the script that he had given me. I was just reading like how I would read a book, and there was no emotion, there was no pauses, and I was like, it sounds like a robot is speaking. And when he did it, it was just so natural. It was so funny, and then we worked really hard on that. Like he broke it down for me. It was a very refreshing and a new experience for me. That's something that I would love to do. Dig further ahead and work towards it. Yeah.
Well, it really came across because I felt like I was standing somewhere in India, and standing next to people, and they were talking as I would. And of course, I don't speak that language, but you can tell whether their relatives are really good friends in terms of how they're responding to each other, their body language, all of those things are just, it just really came across as being in a place that you find, even though it's on stage or watching it on screen, it's sort of, you felt as if you were there, and it was very unique in that way. I mean, again, the movement is just, I'm still sort of like, processing how beautiful that was. One of the things that I know, for a lot of artists, it's difficult, I guess, to sort of trust your ability to bring humor and satire to the stage. What was that process like for you?
Yeah, actually, humor and satire, when we started researching this idea initially, it wasn't there. And this was before the pandemic. And, we were supposed to present like a version of this in March, and that got canceled. And I was already feeling like when I was creating this text, and we had started working with text then as well, that it was too serious, that it was too like the cultural narratives were too heavy or too educational, even sometimes, to the point where it didn't feel like you were watching a show. Seemed like you were like coming for a lecture. And I didn't want that. I was like, I want to entertain. I want to be able to invite people into the world without having this pressure of being like, oh, I'm here to see something very serious. And so when we came back to it after a pause because of the pandemic, thanks to the Making Move Dance Festival, I realized that, I needed a little bit more of a thorough through line, right? And that's when this idea of street play or Nukkad Natak, which I had done growing up in high school, came into play. And Nukkad Natak is usually like super dramatized, and the claps, that's like part of the aesthetic of the street play. But usually Nukkad Natak is done to like these serious social issues. But what I did was take an issue which is not really an issue, like hospitality is not a social issue. And so that became like a way to like, include all these culture traditions at the same time, have something that's more relatable that, you can relate to watching as stories unfold. So yeah, so humor is definitely, I feel like, a way to welcome people into your conversation. Like just leaving that flexibility, that door open, so that they can come and have fun and relax and still haven't come and learn or be in conversation with something that they might not have experienced before.
Wonderful. I Can you tell us a little bit more about the score, especially in those underlying parts where there's text going on, where you're speaking? A lot of that is it's so important. Sometimes even when you watch movies and so on, and you find your heart racing, it's racing because of the score, the underlying, the kind of milieu, the kind of atmosphere that music sort of creates for you. Dun, 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 and it gets your heart pouncing. So I mean, how did you make the decision as in terms of the score and the music? Who did it? It was awesome. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the musical scoring, especially in the text part, is all done by this longtime collaborator of mine. His name is Saúl Guanipa, and he has been with the company since 2019. And we talked a lot about what the vibe was in every different section, but then I trust him so much, and he has such a keen eye to like support without having it to go together too much or contrast where it's popping out. And so I let him be, and I was like, okay, so you create a draft and let's see what happens. And so he came up with the draft, and then we talked a lot about okay, this section, like the section where we're talking about the time, and it's more like this sitcom style TV serial drama. And so he's just so intelligent, and he does his research so well, and he's worked a lot with like YouTube videos or like commercials, and so he has that musical scoring background of what the piece requires to create that atmosphere, that energy. And so actually all of the music was overlaid after the piece was edited. So when we shot it live, there was no music. It was all in silence. And then he, once we edited the whole work, the videographer edited the whole work, he went in and added the music as a background score. So I think that gave us a lot of flexibility to be like, okay, this is when, the bell will come in, because you want to accent that, drop, or like, someone's entering your home, we're going to add a little buzzer, almost like, someone's ringing the bell. And so all these cues that help us, give context to what's happening and give us this extra layer of being able to situate yourself in the situation. That was just, yeah, he's amazing. And he really did a good job with that.
Really was. It was riveting, and I think I kept wanting, it went together. That thing where does the music go with the movement? Does the movement go with the music? You didn't have that. It was something that it just seemed seamless, and I thought that was really wonderful. This next question is for both of you, and I guess because most performers now, including myself, we know what it's like to perform in front of a live audience, right? It's one of the most it's one of the most treasured things we as performers have. Whether it's one person or 100 or 100,000, but the live performance is something so dear to our hearts. How do you see, or how do you imagine this piece unfolding if it was performed live? And how would it be different for you as a performer? Were you, of course, in the theater with 500, 600 people looking at you? You can hear them breathe. You can hear them ooh and ah. So on. How did it feel for you? And what do you think it would be like if you're able to do it live, especially for the audience?
Yeah, I'll actually talk about how it will unfold, and maybe you can talk about what it would be like to perform it. So there's actually a lot of aspects around this performance that I want to craft for the audience member. And one of the ideas that, I was hoping to research in 2020 but couldn't because of the pandemic was this idea of immersive culture, of, adding the dance performance, like surrounding the dance performance with these immersive experiences that grounds us into what we're about to see. So before the audience would come in, I briefly mentioned this before, they would be served chai, which is a welcoming beverage that you might serve when someone visits your home. There would be like these incense sticks, which are used in India. It's beautiful smell. That would be kind of, a sense of smell that would be in the space. There would be some pre-show music already. Another thing, the audience would be sitting all three sides so that they're almost like on stage with us, and they're sitting on all three sides, which also creates this intimate environment where we can, look right and left, not just forward, and interact with them. And really all of this is coming from this want to create a 5 sensory cultural experience, because I really feel like culture is best understood when it is like intimately experienced. And you can talk about it and you can see it and you can, you know from far, but when you really experience it, you get a little bit more sense of what it feels like for the person, for that culture, for that community to be in that culture. And another reason why I was really interested in this is because I've seen a lot of dance that fuses Indian aesthetics with Western art forms. Like there's like fusions of Kathak meets Bollywood, or Kathak meets hip hop or whatever. And I love all of that, but I feel like the stories of what it is to be an Indian in 21st century, that is what's missing from the picture. Like, how do we talk? How do we, meet each other? How do we convey our core values? Like, all of that is missing. And so that is what I want to create going ahead in a performance experience for the audience.
So, as a performer, I mean, we all know, like, we feed off the audience energy. That's something that drives us, the adrenaline. So, it would be really, really, really different because, like Rohan said, the setup and everything, we want it to be like an interactive session. Like when we like you've seen in the piece that we walk around a lot. So we want it to be like we're interacting with the audience. The names that we choose, the kind of feeling that we're trying to portray, the kind of emotion that we're trying to you know give to the audience. We want it to be like we are in an Indian household where there are two hosts who are trying to give you a authentic feel of the Indian culture, and that would be a whole lot different if there are actual audience present right around us, and with that close proximity, speaking to them, giving out that energy, giving out that feel of how it is to be in an Indian household, would it would just hold a whole different magnitude and that feeling if we perform it live in front of the audience. And I'm like Rohan was telling us, like, we are really excited if things open up. We would love to perform this piece in front of an audience. Like, it would just be a whole different level of experience. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm really, really glad that I was able to see that, and it's interesting. And I've become a fan of a writer from India. Her name is Arundhati Roy. I've been reading her work a lot, and so it was just like, again, the work sort of like takes me as if I was standing in the streets somewhere and there were friends talking, and so it was just really, really well done, and I congratulate you guys, and so on. I don't know when you're going to be performing next, so I hope that's something you can tell me and tell everyone so that we can all kind of search and find you, where to find you, where you, what your websites and so on, your next performance. And I'm definitely a fan. So tell us more about that. When do we see you again?
So actually, if you're in New York, we have 2 in-person shows for a very limited audience, like 16 people. Yeah, I know, it's crazy that's happening in March, and that's on March 4th and 18th. And the duet that we'll be presenting in that is actually an older duet that I had created with 2 different company members in 2019. So, and JCal just posted all the information in the chat. So you can, if you are interested in watching a live show in New York, that's happening in March on the 4th and the 18th. We are we have other things scheduled for 2021. Every year we do like this Rovaco Dance Party, where, you know, it's like a community event where we show like repertory, like pieces from our previous repertory, including this one most probably will be in it. And I'm hoping for September. We do have a grant for it, but we kind of have to wait and watch if, you know, it's allowed to have that kind of an event. But that's in the works. And then other things are also in the works, which I can't announce right now. So I think the best way to stay in touch is through our website, which is www.rovacodance.com. We have an Instagram page, a Facebook page. It's all @rovacodance.com. And you can also sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's all that information is in the chat. So yeah, that would be the best way to stay in touch.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you, Siddharth. It's a wonderful, wonderful, and it's a pleasure to be with you and to see your work. I'd like everyone to know, of course, that Making Moves Dance Festival, this was the 11th festival, and it was made possible by the Mertz Gilmore and the Booth Ferris Foundation. And we thank you for watching. We thank you for supporting dance. We thank you for supporting Rohan and Rovaco Dance Company, along with Siddharth, who, again, you guys are beautiful in terms of the way you work together. And I want to see a lot more of that. Please continue. And I wish you all the best. Right now, talk about March and outdoor performances has given me even life. I feel much better knowing that someone is going to perform live somewhere outside, inside, wherever, in front of a live audience gives me hope in life. And it's really a pleasure. So once again, gentlemen, congratulations. It's a wonderful performance, and we thank you very much. Thank you for joining us here at the Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning, Making Moves Dance Festival 2000. Well, we're 2021 right now, and we thank you for joining us. Next year's festival will be the 17th and the 18th of September. We wish you all the best. Stay in touch. And if you'd like more information, you can always join us at Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning, or jcal.org. That's jcal.org for more programming. My name is Courtney French, Artistic Director for the Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning, and thank you for joining us. Have a great day.